I think cosmos are probably one of my favorite flowers, but then I probably shouldn't play favorites because they're all my favorite. Hey, it's Connie here. Welcome to my garden here in Naarm, Melbourne. Today I'm super excited to take you on a tour of my cut flower garden in summer and share with you some of my favorite vase-friendly flowers that you can grow easily in your backyard. So these flowers over here, these are dahlias. They were my first love. So they were the first cut flowers that I started growing in my garden. So you can get like medium-sized ones like these, which are decorative dahlias. And then you can get really big ones that are the size of your face. Those are called dinner plate dahlias. And then you can also get really small ones that are like pom-pom sized. They do grow quite tall, so it's important to put a stake in the garden when you are planting them. One tip I have for growing dahlias is that when you first see the shoot come up, if it's about 30 centimeters tall with a few leaves on it, you can snip the tip, and then this helps you get a bushier plant, because when you cut the tip off, then the side shoots start growing and then you get more stems for more flowers. These super pretty flowers over here, they're called China asters. I love them so much because they're so fluffy. The good thing about asters is that they do bloom a little later in the season. So towards the end of summer, start of autumn is when I see these in bloom. If you look closely at this plant, you will see that it is very tall and skinny. So in that tiny space of like 20 centimeters, you can get I reckon there's like 20 flowers here in one plant. So I feel like they're really great for small spaces. They're really productive and they just have such stunning blooms. Look at that, that's all from 2 plants. These flowers over here are scabby oyster flowers. The name is really strange for a cut flower, but apparently it comes from the fact that they used to be used medicinally to treat the itch of scabies. But they are also known as pincushion flowers, which I find is a better name for them. And I just love them because they're so whimsical and they're so small, and I feel like they make a really good filler flower if you use them in vases and like bouquet arrangements. You will notice with all your cut flowers, once the flowers stop blooming, they will start to turn into seeds. So you can see this is a seed head in formation happening soon. If you like, you can cut these seed heads off, because that way the plant will stop putting energy into growing seeds on these dead flower heads and instead produce more flowers. But of course, if you want seeds, then keep a few of your seed heads on. These are zinnias. I love zinnias so much. I feel like they are like a smile on a flower. I have these varieties here which have like a single layer of petals, but you can also get zinnias where you have lots of layers of petals and they're like really big and fluffy. Zinnias love sun. They also like a bit of water, so water them well. They are susceptible to powdery mildew, which is when you get those like white spots. It's like a fungal disease that you often see on, for example, pumpkins or zucchinis. So my tip would be to water the soil instead of the leaves to help keep that at bay, or to just set up like a little drip irrigation system. There's a really easy way to figure out when to pick them. So what you do is you shake your flower stem and you see if it's wobbly, then it is not quite ready to be picked. But if you shake your flower stem and it is stiff and rigid, then that is ready. If you pick it at that time, then that is when it will last the longest in a vase. These cosmos flowers I feel like are so productive. There's only a few plants here, I think there's about 4 plants here, but you can see that they just have so many flowers on each plant. So I feel like they're very like value for space. Cosmos flowers are really drought tolerant once they're established. So even though they look very flimsy, they're actually very hardy in your garden. They can grow quite tall. So these ones here are more of a shorter variety, but the one behind me, which is also a cosmos, grows really tall, so you should probably stake them. These ones over here, they're called cupcake cosmos. So you can see these ones that I have just harvested, they're more fluffy, but these ones have a single layer of petals, and I think they're so delicate. They look like little fairies in the garden. These are called snapdragons. So I used to know snapdragons as like traffic light plants because my dad would grow them and they'd be red, bright yellow, and then the green leaves would make it look like a traffic light. And I wasn't much of a fan of them, but I recently discovered that you can actually get different colored snapdragons. So if you look here, you can see this one's got mixes of pink, orange, and yellow all on the one flower, and I think they just look so beautiful. when you're harvesting snapdragon flowers, harvest them when they're kind of like half open, and you just cut them at the base and then remove the bottom leaves and put them straight in water. One interesting thing about snapdragon seeds is that you don't need to cover them with soil when you are sowing them, because they don't need darkness to germinate, unlike most plants. So you just scatter them on the surface and that will help it germinate. The last flower I wanted to show you were the tansy flowers over here. So these flowers are traditionally not a cut flower. They're actually more of a medicinal flower, or like a companion flower, because they're used to repel like ants or aphids from your other plants. But I wanted to share this one with you because I wanted to show you that it doesn't have to be a cut flower in order to be able to put it in a vase. As long as it has a long enough stem to put in a vase, then you can pretty much use anything. So I really like these tansy flowers because they have a really long stem, and then if you look at it, they have like an umbrella of just really little blooms, and I think they look so good in an arrangement because they really do well filling space. And these little yellow flowers, they're just so adorable. So I really love making little flower arrangements. With the flowers that I pick in my garden, I always just start off with like the bushier flowers first. If the stem's too long, I will remove a bit of the stem and then just remove all of the leaves that go below the water line so they don't make the water dirty. Some here. I feel like it's always easier to start with your bigger flowers so you can kind of find a space for them. I just put mine straight into the vase just to keep things simple. But if you want, you can use like some wire on the base just to give it a bit of structure. I like doing my flowers at differing lengths because I like it when it looks really 3D and it has a bit of a bounce to it. So there are short stems in the middle, and then there are tall ones, and then there's short ones. I feel like it looks really nice like that. I feel like there is nothing better than a fresh garden arrangement. Just look how pretty it looks.